Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome to our Insight. We are talking about today's topic, and we have our guest. I'll later introduce you to him. Our topic today is still integrated within agriculture. We are looking at alternative agricultural models. We are looking at what is hot and new right now within the Ugandan context and the rationale as well behind it. So we're going to be talking about alternative farming. We're going to be talking about farming alliances. We're going to be talking about really the concept of hydroponics. On our guest list today, the person that is going to give us insight, we have Mr. Mahikano Amon. Amon is the founder of Hydroponic Farms Uganda and has been doing this since 2020. Amon, delighted to have you.
Thank you so much.
It's such a delight.
You're welcome.
Tell me about hydroponics. How did it start? Where did you conceive the idea from? Is it something that you've always loved to do, or this is just something that you checked out from somewhere else and got interested? How did it all start?
So, my name is Amon Mahikano, and I'm the founder of Hydroponic Farms Uganda. Hydroponic Farm started in 2020, but the idea was initially grasped in 2010.
In 2010?
Yes. I have a friend who happens to be from Sweden, so he invited me for a holiday. And I was surprised when I was in Sweden. I realized people were actually growing food, a lot of food in small containers. I asked him, he's called Johan. I asked him, how is it possible that 2 or 3 farmers can feed a whole town? He introduced me, he took me to hydroponic farms. You would find someone with like a 50 by 100 feeding almost a population of like 2,000 people.
Really?
Yes.
And it was more or less vertical?
Yes.
It was vertical farming?
They actually vertical, like you can even go like 10 feet up in the air, and it's covered kind of different from what we have here, temperature controlled, etc. So because of my ability to be able to look at what they are doing and how he loved me, he sponsored me to go for training.
Still back in Sweden?
Yes.
Yes.
I was able to do training for 6 months, and I got the knowledge. When I came back here, I had the idea, started doing this at a small scale at home, and later we were able to register a business and put this onto a commercial kind of platform.
When because this is sort of like a mindset issue, I'm assuming you said earlier on that when you got into this, you were very surprised that they were able to feed an entire town from just 3 or less farms. Now I can imagine when you got back home to Uganda, what was the reaction to those that you began to talk to and maybe show about this new innovation? What was the reaction? Were they as surprised as you were? Would like to find out.
The first group of people to be surprised were my family members. They could not believe that when we talk about hydroponics, this is soilless farming, farming without soil. So very many people were surprised. Traditionally, we have grown up in an environment where people just have to see plants being put into soil.
Yes.
But here you have someone who is saying with only water, you can grow plants. It was a surprise.
It was
a shock.
It was a shock.
I even had to do some betting with some people, and I ate their money. We started betting, like, this is going to grow, and they would say, no, it's not going to grow, there's no soil.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we harvest it, and then we eat, and I win. So it was a shock to some Ugandans, and right now they are trying to embrace hydroponics as a system of growing crops, especially simple leafy vegetables.
The leafy vegetables. Who exactly is embracing this the most?
We have smallholder farmers. These are farmers who are generally growing for their home consumption.
Yeah.
Take an example, for example, you, in your apartment, you have a small balcony and you can be able to grow lettuce, you can be able to grow leafy onions, you can be able to grow tomatoes. Then we also have commercial farmers. We have been able to do this for commercial farmers.
Yes.
Those who are growing commercially, like strawberries. The strawberries you eat in supermarkets.
Most of them are grown here
Hydroponically.
at the moment.
Yes. The strawberries, actually like 50% of them comes from here.
Really?
Yes, we have commercial farmers who are doing strawberries using hydroponics. Tomatoes, the sweet peppers, the yellow and the red sweet peppers.
The bell peppers. Yes.
They are all grown here. Cucumbers.
Cucumbers.
Yes.
But I thought cucumbers tend to really, like, be so heavy when they're growing downwards, so heavy. So how there's a very good supportive system, considering that there is no soil really. How is that working out?
All right. Okay, let me go back to the basics. So when it comes to hydroponics, we have different types of hydroponics.
Okay.
We have what we call the nutrient film technique, where we use simple pipes and a little layer of water is flowing into the system. Then we have what we call the Dutch bucket systems.
Okay.
Now, these are buckets that are connected together, and they are made in a way that they can be able to contain crops that have larger roots. We have even also done banana plantations in hydroponics.
Really?
Yes, when you come to my farm, I will show you.
Yes.
And so it depends on the type of the plant that you're growing and the system. Every plant has its own system. If you can look at the pictures like what we have so far,
Yeah.
the NFTs, that is a simple NFT system, and it is used to grow simple leafy vegetables like lettuce. But if you want to go bigger, then there is a system for that, where we have to improve on the grow media, the troughs, etc.
We are talking about potential. Let's dive straight into it. Talking about potential, Emon, this, like you mentioned before, the population is only shooting upwards, whereas the resources such as land are dwindling further and further down. What is the potential for this? Looking at how all this is starting up, the potential to be able to have food for people, the potential to be able to have money, people doing this not only just on small scale to feed themselves, such as what is happening, but the reality that someone can not only feed themselves but also be able to make some money. What is the potential so far? Is it right now underutilized, or you're looking at only the Kampala region so far? What is the potential?
Thank you so much. So if you look right now at Uganda, we are one of the pioneers of hydroponics farming. Much as we've concentrated onto the urban areas, in the last 2 years we signed some contracts with World Food Program, where we introduced hydroponic farming to people in refugee camps. So these people are able to grow. Surprisingly,
yes.
They don't have any access to a lot of land.
Yeah.
Someone has a smaller portion. But these people are able to grow and at the same time have enough to eat and sell the surplus. We also do what we call market linkages.
Yeah.
If a client grows from, for example, we install the farm and you grow, we are able to connect you to the last person who is able to grow whatever you have grown, like the surplus of it. But looking generally at Uganda, the hydroponic sector is underutilized. It has potential to feed us as a country.
Yeah.
We have so many advantages in hydroponics, unlike in traditional farming. And if we embrace this type of farming, the advantages will help us produce more for our population and even be able to export outside Uganda.
What are some of those advantages?
Now, one, in hydroponics, plants grow faster.
They grow faster?
Yes, lettuce in the soil will go for 50 days. In hydroponics, it needs 3 weeks.
Okay.
Only. Two, many of the diseases you have, like fungal infections, viral infections, bacterial wilts, whatever, they are soil-borne diseases.
Yeah.
They come from the soil.
And that is missing this side.
Yeah, we don't have it in hydroponics. Then here you see, it's now like if you have a garden and you are planning for it, all the nutrients, the NPK, the micronutrients, the plant is growing faster than the other side. Then also the water usage. Right now you see we are having what we call the SDG goals.
Yes.
One of them including the way how we use water as the whole world generally.
Which is really a scarce resource.
So if you go in hydroponics, we use less water compared to traditional farming. Actually, we save 90% of the water compared to traditional farming.
So there is no water wastage.
Exactly. And then also talk about land. In a small space like 50 by 100, I can feed almost like 5,000 people.
You can go upwards.
I can do vertical.
Yeah.
If you look at the square meter in the soil and then you compare it in traditional farming and then you compare it in hydroponics, it's completely different. In hydroponics, you are having much more plants than in the traditional farming.
Because so there is maximum utilization of space.
Of land, exactly, of space, exactly.
Of every space.
Yes, because you can do vertical, you can go sideways, you can do anything you want, so long as you have space. You can even grow up to the level you want, so long as there is enough space for the plants to grow.
Yes. You mentioned one thing, and one of the advantages was the fact that it's faster growing. For example, if it's a plant such as lettuce, it's faster growing. Have you had skeptical Ugandans talk to you and say, these fast growing things of yours are the ones that bring on cancer? Because we've had quite a lot of talk from different Ugandans who come in and say, you know what, these fast growing chicken have issues, these fast growing tomatoes have issues. Have you had those sentiments?
Yeah, actually, people believe something that grows fast is hazardous. But what we use, like in hydroponics, for us, we are completely organic.
You're completely organic?
Our nutrients are organic, 100%. Meaning, we don't have synthetic fertilizers. Cancerous substances, many of them are in these fertilizers that are
synthetic.
But for us, we are organic. Of course, we have had people doubting.
Yeah.
For example, someone tells you, how can a cucumber grow in 50 days? But you explain to them, many of them don't have the information and the knowledge about hydroponics. How
are these organic fertilizers, accessed? Do you make them? Out of what particular substance are they made?
We use a process called vermicomposting, whereby you can correct the rubbish at home and then you keep it and then it is worked on by the bacteria and then the remaining part of it. Then Ugandans don't know, but rabbit urine is very, very important as an organic fertilizer. That's for what? For nitrogen? It has more of NPK. We have some nitrogen in it, we have a little bit of calcium and potassium. All in the rabbit urine? Yes, and some other actually there's even iron and less of molybdenum. So it has also the micro elements. So basically it comes from the composting areas, yes, and that really is nutrient rich, the compost, and then also a little bit from the urine. Yes, rabbit urine. From the rabbit urine. Yes. Are there moments when, because I'm assuming that this has to be a very controlled sort of situation, if you put in quite a lot of this fertilizer, you're going to lose the crop, right? It has to be very controlled, down to the last, whether it's a drop, whether it's a liter. How do you ensure that you are as meticulous as possible? Okay, what we do at Hydroponic Farms Uganda, we as well do training. So once you come to us, we have to make sure we train you on how to use these systems. For example, let me give you an example of me. I might be eating 20 kilograms of posho a day, but you may not be able to eat them. The same applies to plants. When you are growing in hydroponics, there's what we call ppm, parts per millions, and electroconductivity. Now, we use these parameters to measure how much nutrients a plant is supposed to consume. Lettuce will consume maybe between 500 to 800 something. Cucumber will need between 1,000 to 2,000. So we have the way you see a doctor with a stethoscope, the thing they put into their necks. We also have some small measuring and calibrating instruments that we use. So we train the farmers and we give them formulas. I think if you bought some of these products from like Container Village, you've seen scenarios where they say 1 liter mixes 20 liters. Yes. So we also zero down what you're going to grow. If you cannot afford the instruments that we use, and then we see how we can advise you on the real utilization of the fertilizer we have and how much you're supposed to mix for the plant you want to grow.
Why, Amon, and we really have to get down to this and break it down as minutely possible. We've had moments where these such wonderful ideas as the hydroponics, very innovative, ideas come up, and you're getting to see how much, for example, someone is able to cut down on their costs, but also be able to reach out and have better nutrition and have even more income. Why is it that it's not really being taken up so quickly? Then let's even just keep it within the urban context. Why isn't it? Is it so expensive? Is it so expensive? Isn't there maybe, because I looked at some of the footage that we have been showing, and this is really plastic piping, which maybe to the average Ugandan can be a little bit expensive. Isn't there alternative piping maybe that can be used that is much cheaper? Because this is something that utilizes the least space possible and the returns are enormous. Why is it that the uptake is a little bit slower?
One, partly we've not been supported by maybe the responsible people. You see, if we have programs like NAD's program, like operational risk creation, if we put it upon us as maybe the government bodies to make sure that we train our people to embrace hydroponics, there's a time actually the president talked about it.
Yes.
So we have got to make sure that we talk to our population to embrace hydroponic farming. Secondly, it's not something that you're going to do in an overnight.
It takes time.
You need training. The challenge we have with Ugandans is once they see something working,
yes,
they come to the farm and they see how this plant is growing, this is a pipe, this is a pipe.
They want to go over and do it their own.
Exactly. They want to go back home. You will find someone has organized his pipes.
Yes.
But hydroponics is not all about the pipes.
It's not about organizing the pipes.
Exactly. It's the science of growing.
Why do they want to copy and paste? Do you charge highly for that?
Someone pays for the training, but he doesn't have maybe the money to buy the hydroponic farm.
Oh, yes.
And he goes back at home and he starts doing his things. But I want you to know that even with a simple water bottle, you can do hydroponics.
Just a simple bottle of water?
Just a simple water bottle, a PET bottle.
Yeah.
You can do hydroponics.
So this has happened so many times. People coming in and having a look around the farm, and then they immediately do not want to get into the encumbrances of having to undergo the training or even buy the setup facility. So what they do is they go back home very quickly and attempt to put up something, copy and paste basically.
Exactly.
And in most cases, this turns out as a disaster.
They fail.
Do you get moments where?
They come back.
And they come back.
My things are refused to grow. You see, I got some small pipes, I did this, and now the pipes have failed to work. The water is getting warm, plants are green.
Yes.
And then you come in and you help.
And you basically take them again through how it should have been.
Because now if you are designing these systems, there is a way how they are supposed to be aligned, the water saturating, the oxygenation, etc.
Everything
they don't have that knowledge. So they just want to do it on their own. That's the challenge we have in Uganda. And also you might, like we started, we were by that time the pioneers of hydroponics in Uganda. But someone comes to your farm and visits and he sees what you do. He goes tomorrow, he also starts a campaign that doesn't hydroponics.
And this happens often. This happens often. It's so ridiculous. But everyone, let's take a very short break. We'll be right back to talk about farm to market and talking about as well as the different partnerships that are on the offing for this. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back after this.
Smart 24, driving business.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living for the royalty that you step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasand Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
Amanya gange bampita Agnes Kasoga. Kolera nakawa nze muwanguzi nawangudde school fees. Na desimanyi ebintu bino bya ddala kubanga ne yankubira namulimba nnyo ne mugamba nkolera nakifuma nga manyi bafere olwamala ate naddamu nankubira ne mugamba ekituufu sikolera nakifuma badde manyi muli bafere nga simanyi bya ddala nalabirawo nga baŋŋamba ndi omu ku bawanguzi naye nsanyuka nnyo.
Akalulu k'omuwanguzi!
Okuwangula kyangu nnyo, teeka ssente ku ssimu yo otandika okusasulira ku ssimu yo. Abantu mbakakasiza era nabagambye bwe mulaba nga bampadde ne mbagamba nga mutegeera bituufu kubanga nange mwennyini mbadde nga ku TV nga manyi balimba naye ke neerabiddeko bwe nti kyekyo ddala kyekyo MTN osobola okuwangula.
Together we're unstoppable.
My friend, just enter. Everyone now has all access to Pearl Magic Prime. Kasim, give this man some biscuits.
They're over.
They're over. But you see these people here, they are on GOTV Plus, like you. But now they can watch big shows like Sanyu, or they can watch Beloved and they cry. So my friend, from now on, it's more magic to Uganda's best shows on GOTV Plus.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from that break. This is still Doreen Kimcha. I'm here with Amon Mahikaho from Hydroponics Farms, Uganda. Now we're talking about alternative farming. We are talking about the integration, alternative farmings, the potential for partnerships, linkages to the markets as well. So from the field to the market, yes? From the field to the factories, from the field to the very final user. You have talked about partnerships even off screen. We talked about the partnerships. We know for sure that there are quite a number of partnerships that you have with companies, yes, the eateries, as well as with outgrowers. How good can this work out? One of the ladies that we talked to mentioned that in most cases, if the outgrowers don't understand the concept particularly, and they don't understand the part about consistency, even if you have an MOU with an eatery and you are supposed to put particular kgs per day, you'll find out that you're being disappointed by the outgrowers. Has this happened to you as yet?
Thank you so much. So what happens is once we have earmarked you as one of our growers, outgrowers, so we take you through the do's and the don'ts. There is a particular quality that we are supposed to be having. We train you on how to achieve that quality, and then also the supply must be on the right time. For us, what we do, we've created a team that collects the produce from the farmers. So it's our burden to make sure that this produce is collected from your farm, measured, and it's in the right quantity and quality. And then it is delivered to our stores, where it is further dispatched to the right client. We have built partnerships with NGOs. We've had a partnership with, I may not mention their names, but bigger companies in this country, starting from World Food Program for refugee environment. We've gone on to do with suppliers of the materials we use locally. As a grow media, or what we call the substitute for soil, it's called cockpit. It is
it cockpit or cockpit?
Cockpit, cockpit. But in our Luganda English, it is cockpit. Okay.
Yes.
So this cockpit comes from India.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was you could use the substrate, this hairy stuff from coconuts.
No.
You can't?
When you look at a coconut, before it's processed, it's more acidic.
Oh, yes.
So they need to process it and reduce on the acidity. Even after processing it and bringing it, we need to make sure that we reduce on the acidity by treating it.
Okay.
So we've signed also partnerships with a company in India that supplies us with cockpit. However, we also have other grow media which is not used, which is not known to the farmers. Like, for example, we use small stones.
Small stones?
Yes.
The gravel?
Yes, the white ones.
Yes.
They can also work very well, because someone may not be able to, a farmer may not be able to invest into cockpit. A block goes for 80,000, so it might be expensive.
And this block here can do how many farms?
It can do, for example, one block gives you around 200 kgs of what to use into the system. Okay. So this is around like
that's 200 plants?
No, 1,000 plants.
1,000 plants for every 80,000?
Yes, and then you can rewash it, treat it, and use it again.
Oh, it's not bad.
Apart from that, I also want to let people know, farmers know, that they can use sawdust.
Sawdust? Sawdust also tends to have quite a lot of chemicals.
Yes, yes, we boil it and treat it, and then you can use it when it's not hazardous to the plants.
It doesn't rot, considering that it's in proximity, it's in contact with water?
No, the treating eliminates the rotting part of it. So we don't use it in its raw form. That's why you have to get the training on how to use that. Okay. Then also, if you go in the NFT systems, sometimes just plants don't need any grow media, putting them just in water.
As long as they are balanced nicely.
Yes, and they can be able to grow.
Now, Amon, with all this happening and the simplicity with which you actually make it seem, why is it that most people are scared? Why is it that most of them are scared? We've had, and just giving you a recap, we've had moments whereby farmers say they invest quite a lot of money in agriculture and then they make losses at the end. You are saying that basically hydroponics, yes, can give you the very quickest harvest time. In addition to that, you can use the least cost to be able to put up something. And then you go on and say there are so many companies that need, so many eateries, so many different consumers that need this. What is it about the Ugandan system that is not handling this the right way? Because clearly there is market for this. There is market for lettuce, there is market for bell peppers, and all these different things. Why is it that it's not being channeled the way it should be, in your own view?
So you see, Uganda has, generally in the farming sector, we have a weakness. It's not regulated. So we have a lot of people who come in and their role is to make money. Then we have people who have come in and they just want to, they are doing farming with a passion. So what happens is many people have been misled.
Yeah.
Someone, because he wants to get money from you, he will tell you that if you invest 500,000, you are going to get out 1 million in the next harvest. And the farmer ends up getting like 10,000 shillings.
Yes.
So they hate the whole system. It's good that we be open to the farmers.
Yeah.
We tell them, for example, if you invest 500,000, you are going to get it after maybe 4 cycles. Like in hydroponics, we are not controlled by the weather, the climate. Meaning, if you harvest today, you can plant again tomorrow. So a farmer, if he's consistent, is capable of getting out what we call the return of investment.
Yeah.
And this doesn't happen at the first harvest. It's a process until when you break even and you start making profits.
Yeah.
Then also, I think
and talking about breaking even, because under the assumption that this particular process where you have to wait is based on I have planted within this particular area and now I'm going to wait to harvest before I plant again. What about if you have a different model that is more or less continuous, whereby you're able to plant, yes? Plant week 1 and then week 2 plant a different corner, week 3, so that you have continuous surplus. You have a continuous supply.
Perfect. It's as if you've been at our farm. So what happens is we have seedlings that are growing in different stages. These ones are going to be transplanted tomorrow in the nursery channels. The other ones are for next week. The other ones are for the other week. So you find the cycle is continuous.
Yes.
And the harvesting doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. And this is the great thing about, alternative farming methods such as hydroponics. Because it gives you that. One of the issues that we have had notably from the farmers is that they tend to be, the up and then the down. The ups, that is when there is a bumper harvest, everyone, the markets are all flooded, the prices hit rock bottom because it's a bumper, it's a harvest. And then later on you have the slope, it's downhill. So we are talking about that particular linkage to the market and how the farmer should be able to capitalize on the availability of seamless, planting and harvesting. How often do your outgrowers do this? Are they still within that model of let me plant, uproot, or it is almost the same avenue as yours?
You see, if you look at, we have around 120 people who are growing outside.
Outgrowers, 120?
Yes.
All within Kampala?
We have very few in Masindi, Gulu and Mbarara.
Masindi, Gulu and Mbarara.
The one in Masindi is growing bell peppers. The one in Gulu is growing different vegetables. Mbarara, they are growing cherry tomatoes. This is small tomatoes.
Yes.
So we have advised them. Some of them they grow and they forget that you are supposed to prepare again new gardens. So they wait, they harvest, they get the money. Sometimes they are controlled by the finances. They don't have enough access to capital. Someone is waiting for you to pay them back and then they plant again. So what we've done, we've given them loans in form of inputs.
Oh yes.
A loan for fertilizer, a loan for seeds.
Yes.
So by the time he's harvesting, he has a loan, and for you, when you take the produce, you deduct your money and you send the surplus to him.
That is wonderful.
That is what we've decided. But some of them are not trustworthy. They don't end up
paying back.
No, they say they produced someone else.
Oh, instead of selling it to you.
Yes, so they do not follow because we sign some simple documents. Yeah. They don't follow the MOUs that we sign. They say because maybe you are buying a kg at 2,000.
Yeah.
A restaurant has come to buy a kilogram at 2,500. So they sell to the restaurant.
Oh, unfortunately, integrity. And we also know that the majority of those that you get to train and handle and work with are women.
Yes.
Is that true or false?
100% true. There is a way, I think the burden of feeding a family in African setting is
on the women.
So we have so many women who come. And even when we visit schools, because we have trained schools here in Kampala, like St. Mary's College, Kisubi, among other schools, you find that even the pupils, it's the girls who are having more interest than the boys. So naturally,
is it because farming has been genderized for quite a long time, you know?
I think it's naturally like that. Like it's a woman's responsibility to learn how to farm and provide food for the family.
That's part of the socializations about the roles of women and the roles of men as well.
Like recently, if you look at that training that we had for KCCA and some NGOs, 70%, actually 80% were women.
80%. I also think in most cases there is a very high uptake of such things, yes, such work that does not take the women away from home. Yes, if you look at some of the skilling focal areas, you've been looking at baking, you've been looking at poultry, you've been looking at tailoring, because these ones can be done within the home setting, especially for stay-at-home moms or other moms that would want an income but not want to be taken away from home. So do you think that this is, especially when it comes to hydroponics and the fact that you can actually reap quite a lot of money, you can get quite a lot of money as long as you're consistent and you have undergone training, do you think it would work out quite well for the woman?
Yes. Actually, on average, you can get something like 2 million annually, on average, for a normal household woman.
Like 2 million?
Yes.
That's gross or net?
That is net.
Net. So if we break it down, that's around 180, 170 something per month. Per month.
Which is enough income for a woman who is at home. And then she has other projects. And then she has other projects of course.
Who said that's enough?
By Ugandan standards.
By Ugandan standards. Okay, and now right, we know there's quite a burden because more and more women are really chipping in. They have to chip in school fees. They have to chip in, for the medical bills. So we are really looking at ways in which the woman can be able to participate in innovations such as this, and then immediately even not have to go through the market hustle, but have the linkage to the market. Can any person walk in right now into hydroponics farms Uganda and be able to capitalize and really be able to benefit from this sort of arrangement? Come in for a training, be enabled or mentored on how to grow these particular leafy vegetables, and then also move on to the next part where she has a memorandum of understanding signed with you, so that she is able to supply you, and you get to sell. All she needs is the money. Is that possible?
Yeah, 100% possible.
You're still taking in more and more?
We are doing it on a rolling basis. So
what do you mean rolling basis?
If you come in today, you get a training immediately.
Is there any price tag to this?
Yes, we charge a small fee, which is convenient for the two of us, for the farmer and the farmer.
You also have to break even.
Yes, we also have to make sure we pay our facilitators, the equipment we use, etc.
What are those things, Amon? What are those 2 or 3 things that you wish Ugandans knew about this sort of farming, hydroponics? What are those things where you sit back and you look at yourself or look around and say, this is so sad, or this is so exciting. I wish Ugandans would tap into this, or I wish they knew ABCD. What are those 2 or 3 things? 1,
you don't need land to practice agriculture.
That's the first and foremost. Yes.
You find someone is complaining and saying, you see, I did not inherit any land. We don't have land. That's not an excuse.
It isn't.
Where you sleep, start from there. Hydroponically, you can grow and start from there. 2, you don't need to go to the university to learn the way how hydroponics operates. You can get simple training that can help you. As you are growing, you are learning more on how to do it. You learn from the job. Lastly, it's not big things that can get you out of poverty. You just need consistent small things.
And consistency.
Yes. And then trust. Like if I'm dealing with you, companies dealing with you, make it worthy. I'll give you an example. Here we have people who come in, they don't have any business, and they have come from abroad, and then all of a sudden they are supported by their fellow businessmen. 4 years down the road, you find they are very, very rich because of trust. So if we can trust each other, and maybe I trust you with the inputs, then at the end of the day, we can be able to get out of poverty as a team.
You know, you mentioned, as you talked about trust, I reflected and thought about all those visitors who come down to your place. Not all, some of them that you have noticed, the ones who come over to your place and then just sneak off and go and start their own instead of partnering with you, and then make mistakes. When it goes all wrong, then they come back again. Is it part of the Ugandan way of doing things that we are failing when it comes to trust? We are failing when it comes to commitment and consistency. What is it about our Ugandan culture and setting?
I think naturally, Uganda has a problem of trust issues. Naturally.
Yeah.
Because we have had people who have come in as interns, and you train them like for 1 month. Tomorrow he goes and he registers so and so something hydroponics.
Yes.
And he also wants to impart people to make sure that they also embrace hydroponics. And yet he doesn't have any knowledge at all.
Within the 1 month that he was interning, he hasn't picked up anything?
What? No, he has the knowledge, a little bit of knowledge. But what took me, for example, 1 year, he thinks he can do it.
Learn it all in 1 month.
1 month. Yeah. So at the end of the day, he gets people, he misleads them. Then you find him saying hydroponics is a scam. It's fake.
Yeah.
Doesn't work in Africa.
Yes.
So now we have to improve our. Okay, we have some people who are trustworthy.
Yes.
I don't want to generalize.
We cannot blanket them all.
Yes. But majority of us still have a low sense of,
trust.
Yes.
And commitment. Have you had memorandums of understanding signed with some of the outgrowers and they've backed out and disappointed?
Yes.
And disappointed.
Yes, and you cannot sue them.
And what are some of their reasons? Let's trickle down back to that. What are some of their reasons for the disappointment?
One, they don't have permanent place overboard.
Oh, yes.
Someone has started a farm when he is in Bogoto. The husband loses a job, and then they transfer, they go to Mpiji.
Yes.
And in the process, she doesn't even have the money to transfer the hydroponic.
And leaves it there?
And leaves it there or gives it to someone else. You find they are putting in chicken feeds and they are feeding chicken from there.
Oh, this has happened. These are true stories.
Yes, especially women farmers.
Women farmers, because we are still, as women, very hinged so much on our carers, the ones, our spouses, our partners. So knowing that this has happened before, what steps are you taking, Emon, knowing that you are the founder, to ensure that the women that you work with, considering that most of them are 90% of your clients, beneficiaries, and knowing that they go through all these ups and downs, and sometimes they don't have all that much protection, what particular component are you embedding within your training to ensure that it doesn't happen?
We are in talks with European Union and one of our guarantors to establish what we call communal farms.
Yeah.
For example, you find Kawempe, Makinde, our farmers have one big farm. They all come there and work like once in a while. They have all put in their own inputs.
Oh, but you can get inside this communal farm and still find that this section belongs to this and this section belongs to...
Yes. Even like the way they do it in these salt lakes in western Uganda. You find that there is a lake, but someone has their portion.
Yes.
So even when they want to sell, they can sell their portion and they go.
Oh.
So, but it needs some kind of funding, and we are in talks. We've written some proposals. We are like on the second or third phase.
Yeah.
If it's approved, then we shall first start with like 4 pilots in Kampala.
That's wonderful. What are the major challenges apart from that, inconsistency and trust? What is that one challenge that you have seen with this sort of farming?
Hydroponics is tricky. Any slight mistake, you can wake up tomorrow and all the plants are dead.
Why?
Maybe you have mixed and put in more fertilizer than it is supposed to be there.
Oh, you have to make sure that you keep it stringent.
Yes.
You keep to the book.
Exactly. You have to make sure that if it is 1 liter mixing 20 liters, that's it.
That is it.
Don't get 1 liter and mix 15 or 10 because you want them to grow fast. We have some people who want them to grow fast, and they believe if they give more fertilizer, they will grow very, very, very fast.
Yes.
Secondly, as I said, the input money.
Yeah.
Many people in Uganda, we know this is a challenge, so they don't have money to go into this. Others don't want to get the training, and they want to do hydroponics. So that's also another big challenge right now that we have. The knowledge is lacking.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we also have the traditional mindset.
Yeah.
No, farming is supposed to be in the soil, nothing else. We have some people who have even refused to buy like strawberries that have been grown in hydroponics.
Is it intentionally, is it labeled as such? Is it labeled as such?
When you get out of our farm, like we have some space where we sell some of the things that have come
like
out of
a stall, yes.
So someone would ask you, is this grown inside here? You say yes. He says no. I will not be able to eat that.
Because there is that perception that really these sort of like innovations, the modern innovations rely heavily on chemicals.
That's what they believe.
That's the perception.
Yes, and then they forget in hydroponics there is no pesticides. We don't spray anything. We just have fruit insect traps and nothing else. We don't spray these hazardous chemicals, which they spray in the open fields, which we don't use. Yeah. Our fertilizers are organic. So tell me, how does this become hazardous or cancerous?
And I think it's awareness building, really. There's potential. There's a gap in there. And the more people get to know about this, the more they understand that this is a very healthy way to go, a healthy way to farm. And the person considering that right now we are looking from the fields to the last users, from the fields to the factories, from the field to the market. Most of the people right now are very, very sensitive and aware about the implications or the dangers of the use of chemicals, and they would want to have another alternative, especially when it comes to organic farming. So we would want to actually urge you and all the stakeholders involved to improve when it comes to awareness building. Eamon, this is such a delight. I want you to take just 1 or 2 moments and look at that person who is viewing us right now and talk to them and urge them to embrace some of these innovations, especially, and when it comes to the mindsets as well, please impress it upon them for them to understand the benefits.
I know you've been misled, and a lot has been said about other farming types that are not the traditional ones. But I want to remind you that the world has changed. In the next 10 or 20 years, we want to be having access to land. Our population is increasing and land is not. So it's better at this stage for you to embrace hydroponics. I'm calling upon you all out there. The training is not expensive. We give you guidance. You can use local materials to do farming. Please embrace this, and it will help you earn more extra income and at least also feed your family. Good. Thank you so much.
And that is just about it. This has been Doreen Kemcha bringing you insight with Eamon visiting as our guest today, giving you insight onto hydroponic farming. Eamon is the founder for Hydroponics Farms Uganda, and they've been doing this for quite a number of times.
Yes, since 2020.
Since 2020. So until next time, we wish you well and have a nice day. Bye-bye.